If I said to you that you could be a galactic or an ET, would you agree with this? Would you even know what it is? Today we are going to explore the whole world of ETs and galactics. Your best friend could be one, your son, your daughter, even you. So interesting. Don't miss this.
Do you want to know everything? What your heart won't say, but your soul can sing. From love to loss and the space between, she's got the light to lift the unseen. Hope, healing, and transformation. Do you want to know everything? Do you want to know everything?
Well, today I am super excited about our episode. I recently did a reading with this woman, and after the reading we were talking, and you just talk, don't you? And then she started to tell me that she is a galactic ambassador, and I'm like, okay. And she started to explain about the ETs and the galactics who walk amongst us, and I went, oh my god, that is it. And Ray is like, we got to get you on the show. So I am so excited. We're going to be talking all about the ETs, galactics, who walks amongst us. Are they part of us? Is your best friend a galactic? We're just going to find out. Oh, and am I? I don't know. Really, I could be. All right. So, Lisa, thank you so much for being on this show. I'm sure you get all of those questions and more.
I do. Thank you so much for being willing to even broach this subject with your audience.
Yeah. I will share a little bit about me. I have done some work in this area, okay? And there's times whenever I'm doing my healing that this language comes out, this little clicking goes on, and I'm like, oh, where did this come from? And I have a friend of mine who will, she'll openly say that she wants to go and spend a whole year just speaking light language, and because she adores it. So I'm not new to this world, but many of my viewers might be. So I would love to hear from you. How did you get into this galactic and ET world out there?
So I've actually been an experiencer contactee my entire life.
Wow.
Although I didn't realize it till I was 15, and that's when I had my first conscious contact experience, where I was taken onto a spacecraft and I got to have a whole conversation with my galactic guide.
Wow.
And
okay.
Yeah, so I can share more about that, but that was, what was huge for me was I got validation very quickly afterwards that it was a real experience, not just like my imagination or a dream.
Right. So what was that like? Tell me, I'm intrigued. I want to know what that was like, because, we imagine it to be like ET and back in, what was it, the 80s, the ET was around. But, tell me what that was like. I mean, wow.
Yeah. So that particular experience, it was a nighttime thing. I was asleep. Right. So I wake up and I'm inside this spaceship. And it was a smaller shuttlecraft.
Okay.
And it was just me and my ET guide. But I didn't have any fear because, number one, he looked human. And number two, I felt like I knew him, like he was my friend. And so he takes me in the shuttlecraft to Io, one of Jupiter's moons. And then he starts touring me around what looked like a hospital facility, where I could see into different rooms and everyone looked human. Nothing scary going on, though. So my next question to him was, are you human? Is everyone here human? And he said, no, those of you that we have brought here are human. We are not. We are humanoid, but we disguise ourselves because our form tends to scare you. And so then my next question to him was, well, why are we here? Why am I here? And he said, those of us that were chosen to be brought there were being tested to see if something happened to Earth, if we could live in an environment like that or something similar. And this was back in 1988. So we were still in the Cold War, on the verge of World War III. So there really was a timeline potential where something could have happened. And then at the end of the tour, I asked him if I could see what he really looked like, because as a kid growing up, I was obsessed with animals, and the weirder, the better. That's why I got my PhD in zoology and marine biology. And
Wow.
so, yeah, so when he showed me what he looked like, he was about 7 feet tall. He had pure white skin, big dark eyes, and long red hair, like fire engine red kind of hair. And he had triangles tattooed on his cheeks. So very extreme in his size and coloration. And I could see where people would have some fear response to that, but completely benevolent. And so, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so this just shot me into a dream that I had, a recurring dream when I was a kid. And so interesting. When you told someone about this, did they think it was a dream? Did they tell you it was a dream? Tell me what people were saying to you.
Yeah. So when I came back, I remember just laying in my bed, and my 15-year-old brain thought it was just a dream. But I'm like, okay, that is the weirdest dream I've ever had. And typically with dreams, we forget the details, right? After the first 10 minutes of waking up, unless we practice doing our journaling or whatever.
Right.
But I didn't forget the details. But a few months later, I was reading Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, and that's his book talking about his experiences of being taken by a race of gray ETs. And mine was very different than that. But at the end of his book, he's interviewing different people that had been taken, and they all had the same kind of gray ET experience he's having, except for one guy had a completely different story where he was telling Whitley he had been taken to a moon of Jupiter and told he was one of the chosen ones. And then Whitley made a little side comment, kind of sarcastically, I hope it isn't Io. And as soon as I read that, like my body, head to toe chills, tears started coming down my face. So my body was like, that was a real experience. Now, at the time, my mother and I were part of a spiritual school of enlightenment, the Ramtha School of Enlightenment. And so we were learning about other dimensional realities, higher consciousness, ETs, things like that. So I knew if I told my mom, she would believe me. So I did tell her. She got really excited. And then a few days later, she introduced me to another student at our school who had formerly been very high government, who knew about the different ET races that our government knows about and even works with. And so I told him my story. And when I got to the part of describing him, he was like, I don't know that race. He said, but we don't know all of them. There are so many out there. But he said, you did have a real experience. So I had my own validation, and then I had that external validation as well.
Okay, so I'm going to come on to the government in a moment, about the government knowing about it. I want to understand something in my, I guess, human brain. So people could be having these visitations or these experiences on these ships and thinking it's a dream.
Mm-hmm. All the time.
I got to share something. This is going to be really weird. I used to have this reoccurring dream. All right. And it may be random. Okay. But it was about, I was in a laundrette. Okay. So I was in a laundromat. Okay. In the UK, we used to call them laundrettes. And as I was walking down, I remember being in there, and it was the operating room. It was like an operating room. I remember walking in, and the face had come off the face had actually come off this human, and inside it had all electronics. And I am about 7 to 9 years old, so electronics was not in my vocabulary. And there were adjustments were being done on the face, and then it was closed, and then this person walked off. I'm like, oh my, now I'm wondering if I had this visitation. This is a really weird thing. Anyway, irrespective, I want to go back into this whole thing. Now, you said that they look humanoid, all right, or they look like humans. Tell me, are there any distinct features that we need to look for if we are, walking around with the Galactics?
Well, I mean, the ones that I am aware of, they are able to blend in with humans very well. There are so many ET races that actually do look fully human, because we are not unique here on planet Earth. The human form actually first developed in the Lyra constellation, and then they colonized out to different star systems. And so, like, for instance, the Pleiadians, who are a group that a lot of people are familiar with,
Yes.
they look like Nordic, Nordic humans, lighter skin, generally lighter hair, light eyes. And actually, they first were from Lyra, and they came to Earth, becoming Earth Lyrans. They incorporated some of the primate DNA into their bodies to be able to stay here easier because Earth is very dense. And then other Lyrans were coming, kind of warring with each other. And so the Earth Lyrans ended up colonizing the Pleiades, becoming the Pleiadians. But they were here on Earth first.
Now, what about the Arcturians?
The Arcturians? Well, so that's the group that I came in this human life to be the closest to. We are all of these things in a multidimensional way, but I got to meet my Arcturian self October 2018. And
Wow.
yeah, and I didn't realize that it was me until a few years later, but now I'm very embodied into my Arcturian self. And the Arcturians, they are much more higher dimensional, non-physical beings. They can present themselves as being blue-skinned, large bald heads, skinny bodies. But their energy is very like Christ, Buddha consciousness-like, very angelic. And they are master healers. That's what I was in that realm, or am in that realm. And that's what I actually channel through me as Earth Lisa.
So interesting. The reason why I ask is because, and I know nothing about this. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, I know nothing. But I have been told that I embody the Arcturian energy of sorts. And I'm like, I have no idea. And so, of course, I'm just little old Lisa on this side of the road, and just really curious. And I think it's amazing. So these ETs walk amongst us, okay? And let me ask you, because this is a very interesting thing. I just had a past life, life between lives experience. And I was having this experience, and the person guiding me through it actually said to me, have you had any lives in a different location? And it said that I have had 1,500 on this life, on this earthly plane, but I have had several hundred in the light. And so, is that possible that we can actually have past lives on the star constellations or in that space?
Yeah, and actually at the quantum level, all timelines are existing simultaneously. So there really is no past or future. It's all parallel.
Right.
And we are infinite beings. We're multidimensional. And so we do have all of these different lives simultaneously going on. And to date, I have been able to really connect with 13 different higher dimensional galactic races that I have aspects of. And but there's so many more.
I'm fascinated, absolutely fascinated by this, and I think it's amazing. Okay, so I have a couple of questions. Right. So someone told me that insects, like flying ants and things like that, are also significant to these beings. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the groups that I actually work with and channel their healing energy and am a part of are the mantis, the praying mantis,
Right.
bipedal beings, which are, a lot of people are afraid of them because they're just so tall and they look different, but they are some of the most ancient, wise beings in our universe. They're master healers, master genetic engineers. And so I love them. We also do have ant people, like in southwest of the U.S. All the Native Americans have these beautiful stories and even like cave paintings of the ant people.
Wow. Okay, so it would not surprise you if I said to you, as soon as you came, I have been sitting here doing a podcast all day. And so it would not surprise you that if I said that you came on and suddenly I had this little fly that just kept wanting to fly towards the screen.
Yeah, they do come in that insect form. And It's so interesting because I am academically trained, mainstream academia as an evolutionary biologist, marine biologist, zoologist. And even with that, our mainstream way of thinking about how these animals evolved on Earth, it's not correct, even though I used to teach it and do it. And so I've had a lot of sessions of remembering other lives because that's one of the modalities that I do. And one of the lives that I got to experience was holding the energy for Earth and telling the powers that be that it was time to start bringing the animals and seeding them here on Earth.
Okay. So I got to tell you, if my husband ever listens to this podcast, he's going to think that we're both batshit crazy. Okay. Which that's his problem. But I'm
Right.
sure that there are going to be people that are sitting and listening to this and going, you two are off your rocker. So how do you deal with skeptics in this space?
Fortunately, I have created a very safe bubble for myself where I don't attract those kind of people that try to tear me down and I do a UFO tour here in Hawaii on the Big Island. And I do have people coming on the tour that sometimes are skeptics because their spouses are dragging them along. But I'm just here to plant the seeds, and people can be open to the info or not. But I'm not here to try to convince anyone of anything.
Okay, this is amazing. All right, so I have so many questions, and I know we're going to get Ray in here because he has a wealth of questions. I'm talking on the lay term of things. So those people who are walking amongst us, who are in this space, who are the ETs and the Galactics, do they know that they are, or do they not know that they are?
Both. Some of them do, some of them don't. I actually do have a friend, colleague, Vivian Chauvet, who she fully knows she is an ET here, but she's in this human costume.
Yeah,
But
I have
she,
a friend like that.
yeah. And so she fully accesses the information from her Arcturian realm. And since she was a baby, has actively worked with her Arcturian father. He's there all the time with her. And so, yeah. And
Wow.
she speaks from that Arcturian perspective.
Yeah, I've actually got several people who, because of the plant medicine journeys that I've been doing, and the stuff that I have actually been witness to, we have seen it in journey space that I've had somebody come out with light language and they start channeling the light language and they start, all of a sudden their healing ability comes along and then they understand light language and, and it's really interesting. And I will just share a quick story and I'm going to come back to a question I have here. We were in journey space and, it's crazy because when you're in journey space, you're in this altered dimension anyway, but it's a simultaneous, everything happens in this moment. And it's almost like you can elongate time. I am known to elongate time. I can lengthen time. People can look at me. I remember leaving my house for the airport at the time I was supposed to be boarding. And I walked in and I still had 8 minutes before I was boarding. I can elongate time. I don't reckon. Do not try that at home, by the way. However, it was insane. But I remember being in journey space and I remember feeling the energy coming down onto the house. And where I live, it's kind of got this, we live on this clear quartz like bed of crystal. It's insane. And it's not just my house, it's the whole area. But I remember feeling, oh, they're here. They're here. And it felt like, oh, welcome. And then suddenly there was this going, and in one of the bathrooms, one of the like shower curtains had fallen down. And then in the other bathroom, something else had happened. And of course, everybody's like, oh my God, what's going on? And when we went outside, it was like the whole outside just started like, it was like this big orchestra. It was insane. So I've had experiences and I've felt it personally, but this is having a normal conversation about it per se is so enlightening. I have to ask this one question. If you do not know that you are an ET and you go and have random question. I'm so sorry. I feel so naive asking this question. And you're going to have a DNA test by ancestry.com. What's going to come up?
Well, what's interesting is that we all have up to 22 different ET races in our DNA. And so,
No way.
yes. So, again, throughout our human evolution, we have had different ET groups come and modify our bodies genetically, splice in their DNA, modify us, upgrade us. And so, yeah, so we actually all have galactic heritage.
I love that. All right. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the government. Okay. Because we were talking about the government, how you said the government work with them. Tell me how the government works with the galactics.
Okay, so um, this was back after the Roswell crash,
Right.
and they started trying to reverse engineer that technology. They recovered bodies. There have been other crashes. And so they're in the 50s, specifically, the Eisenhower administration. There were different ET groups trying to come in and like basically offer technology in exchange for whatever they wanted. And so that's where it started. And so there are different ET groups that are working in very secret underground bases, not that people don't really know about, and helping them create different technologies. That's not really the aspect that I particularly like to focus on myself,
Right.
but it is real.
Hmm. Interesting. So let's talk about why they're here. Why are they here walking amongst us? Because this is where I think I don't want to get anyone into fear, but why now are we so aware of it, and why are they here to help us?
Okay, well, they have been here throughout Earth's history, and
Hmm.
before humans, and then watching us. So, some of them are here because of that genetic heritage that we have. They're kind of like parents watching over us, and we are at a particularly interesting point in Earth's history where we're going through this extreme shift and up leveling, ascending, evolving to a higher level, and so some of them are watching us and helping to usher that in, um, because we're such a melting pot here on Earth. We're very different than a
Right.
lot of the other planets where it's much more homogenous, and so they're assisting without going against our free will. And also, once we get to the point where we are a little bit more evolved, higher frequency, coming more from that love, compassion, empathy perspective, then they're ready to welcome us into the greater galactic community.
Which I do believe that we are on this absolute precipice of change. If we look at the spiritual evolution, if we look at what has happened, and I'll just talk from my 20 years of being in the public eye, and I
Mhm.
have had 20 years of being in the public eye in a spiritual industry, but I've had over 30 years doing it. And I have noticed the ascension process, whatever you want to call it, being so much more, it's become bigger and bigger and bigger. More people, more aware. People are not scared. They're totally ready to embrace this. And I think that this is actually a beautiful thing because, you've got there's this awareness that is happening around in society right now,
Yes.
which I think is incredible.
Yeah, and very similar. So I've been doing this kind of spiritual work since 1986, so for
Right.
almost 40 years. And really, I mean, things have changed so much in these last years of
Mm,
life.
mm.
And within our lifetime, perhaps as soon as 2027, maybe 20 or 30 years from now, we're going to have open contact, full open contact, where collective consciousness will be ready for that.
Okay.
Other people are just like me. I have regular contact, but it's not considered open contact because it's a personal experience.
Right. Okay. Now, is this where, when we talk about open contact, is this where the government are actually having open contact now, or is that what you mean by this?
So it means that the ETs, they're going to be probably likely the Pleiadians coming first because they look the most like us. They look human, so that people don't have that fear around what other things look like. And so they will be interacting among all of humanity. But a lot of us are also part of the Zeta Human Hybrid Program and other hybrid programs. And so our hybrid children will also be coming to Earth.
Right. So you just mentioned kids. Do you believe right now that more children are being born that are from the, galactics? Because
Yes,
I have noticed it.
yes, definitely. I mean, we have 8 billion people on Earth. That's a lot of
Right.
people. And so,
I
yeah.
think my son is.
Well, my kids are definitely hybrids. I was tinkered with in the womb. And yeah,
Yeah,
a lot.
interesting. I'm
Hmm.
going to bring Ray in because Ray has a wealth of questions and Ray loves this stuff. I mean, Ray asks the questions that I'm not going to, but I think, Ray, you
Well,
have,
let's just start with your kids are hybrids. They're hybrid what? Partially human, partially ETs?
Yeah, they have, yes.
How do you know that, and how can you be so blasé about it?
Ray, she's not being blasé. She knows about
You
it.
just said, "Oh, my kids are hybrids." It's like
That's like me saying I speak to
that.
dead people. You trust that?
Most parents, that would be like a horrific shock to know.
Well, again, because I myself have been an experiencer my entire life, and I know who these beings are, and there's absolutely nothing to fear. It's just a normal part. I mean, my daughter, who is turning 19 tomorrow, actually, she now thanks me for being her mom so that she could be part ET.
Oh my God, I love this.
You've just told the whole world that your daughter is partially an ET. Isn't
Yeah,
doesn't that put her in danger in some way?
no, no, things are shifting. Back in the 80s, 90s, even up until recently, saying things like that, people would think you're crazy, the tinfoil hat wearing crazy UFO people. And now, as we are awakening, people are becoming more consciously aware that these things are real, and they're becoming more accepting of who they really are.
And
I have accepted who I am.
and what are your and their superpowers? What
Well,
can they do that we can't do?
we all have superpowers. It's
Ray,
just, are they
listen to this.
online or not?
Listen very carefully to what Lisa's about to tell you because you need to know that you have superpowers. Lisa, I wish I had control now so I could mute him. Lisa, I'll let you carry on.
Yes, we all have these abilities. It's just, are they unlocked or not? And so, as we raise our consciousness, we raise our vibration, those latent abilities come online faster and faster. So, all the clair abilities that Lisa has, we're able to do telekinesis, telepathy, remote viewing. Everyone has this ability. It's not just special people like Lisa.
I agree with that.
Now, can you just pick up your cell phone and call one of these ETs and have a chat with them?
Well, they don't
I'm
communicate
not
via the
making
cell
fun of
phone.
this. I totally think this is just fascinating, and I'm just so envious that you can do that.
So the way that I communicate, it's an inward journey, because the ones that I am part of, that I work with, they're in a higher dimensional reality. So the first thing that I need to do is raise my own vibration, and we do that more as that inward deep journey. So raise a vibration, they can lower their vibration to meet somewhere in the middle, and that's where communication
So
happens.
that's like having a communication with spirit where we are
Yes.
going into deep meditation and we are able to connect in. So, and therefore we're able to channel information. So, what you're telling me is
Hmm.
that we can have these communications with the galactics and being able to connect in that way.
Yes, everyone has that ability. Just
Ray, I
like
want to see you do it.
Just like everyone has the ability to connect with spirits and
Right.
their past loved ones and all the things.
Okay,
It's
but
just who do you want to contact?
humans, there are good humans and there are bad humans. There are humans who will screw you over, who will steal your ideas, who will do whatever. Are these ETs evolved above that, so they're not? They don't have the same wants, needs, and desires that humans have. How do we know we can trust them or all of them?
Okay. So I love that question, and I get that a lot on my UFO tours. And so the way that I like to describe this, so you are correct. We as Earth humans, we operate in a third and fourth dimensional, third density reality, sometimes shifting up to the fifth dimension when we're in states of joy and following our passion, being in play. So, as third and fourth dimension reality, we experience polarity. That's one of the laws of third and fourth dimension. So, we experience the good, the bad, the positive, the negative, the black, the white. And so, we do have Earth humans, kind, compassionate, loving, service to others, and then other humans that are the opposite. So, are there ETs that are third and fourth dimensional like us? Yes, there are. And so, but as a race, you cannot put them all into one basket saying that race is malevolent or bad. It's individuals within that race. But as soon as we start shifting into those higher vibrational realms, fifth dimension and higher, polarity ceases to exist. These beings understand that love is the basis of everything and that we are all one, we are all connected. And so, really, it's where your particular vibration is of what you're going to experience. So, people who are in a lower vibrational reality, they might experience the ETs that are lower vibration. That doesn't make it good or bad, though. Everything is a soul contract agreement,
They
but
might,
we can raise our vibration.
they might say that again. They might interact with people with ETs of lower vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So, do the ETs of lower vibration have plans that they want to do things that their overall race doesn't really want? I guess my question is, how do we trust them? Because are they all trustworthy, or could some screw us over? Could some kill us? Could some, want to rule the world? That's my question.
Okay, so if any of them wanted to take over or destroy the earth or whatever, they would have done so far long ago.
I agree with that.
And so, again, yes, there are some that might have an agenda that we would perceive as not good, malevolent, whatever. And there are the higher vibrational ones that are actively keeping those guys away so that we can go through our ascension process here on Earth. But because, again, all timelines are existing simultaneously, and everything that we experience, from my understanding, is a soul contract agreement. Even if someone were to have an experience that they perceive as negative, they signed up for it at a soul level.
Right. Okay, so I have a question. Just because I know a little bit, enough to be dangerous, which is really weird. Okay, I've heard a lot of people say that the reptilians are dangerous. Tell me what they are first of all, and what your perception is of this.
Okay, thank you for this question because I love reptilians.
Okay,
And
me too.
so okay, again, there are some individuals and when we say reptilians, there are so many different races out there.
Okay.
There's not just one reptilian race, just like there's not just one gray race. There are so many from different star systems, and depending on what frequency, vibration, or dimension they're residing in depends on like how people experience them. So one of the groups that I am very connected with are higher dimensional kind of dragon reptilian, and they are fantastic.
Yeah.
And so the ones that people tend to give a bad rap to are known as the draconians.
Right.
And what's really interesting, so my Arcturian self, Arcturian Uluru, that life was during a time of our galactic history during the Orion Wars. So, like Star Wars was real, called the Orion Wars. Okay, so one of my roles as Arcturian Uluru was I knew that not all the Draconians were bad. Some of them wanted to leave the Dark Empire and transmute. So I created an outpost sanctuary for them to come to if they were ready to transmute to the light, and I helped them.
Wow, that's amazing. So I had this, because I have a really good friend of mine, Sahara White Wolf. She does a lot of clearings, and she did a big clearing on me, and she said, "Wow, you have a reptilian attached to you." She said, "But this reptilian's really good," and I was like, "That's great." And so I have a question because I'm sure it is in the same energy. Do you ever find that some people have certain insect energy? I have spider energy. Don't ask me why. My best friend, absolutely hates spiders. But for me, I attract them. I love spiders. It's like I can speak to them. I don't know what it is. Ray's looking at me like going now, oh my God, I can't work with you anymore. But spiders, for me, they have the most magnificent energy.
Yeah.
Ray.
There are definitely spider-like ET beings. I mean, again, all the different animals here on Earth have some kind of ET counterpart out there in our galaxy.
Okay, but you said that well, I'm asking, I guess. Humans didn't evolve here on Earth. We were brought in from somewhere else, and I guess animals as well.
Yeah, I know. And again, I got my degree from University of Chicago. If any of my grad student friends or professors heard me saying this, they would probably be just
See, I love
yelling.
this.
So evolution is not true then.
Things evolve, but not in the way that scientists have explained it.
And Roswell, there was an accident, and there
Yeah.
were bodies of ETs that the Americans found
Yes.
and are hiding in what's that place called? 51, Area 51.
Yes, and there have been many different kinds of crashes like that around the world that have been recovered, live bodies as well as dead bodies. And
We actually have recovered live ETs.
yes, yes, and those are the ones that were taken to those secret military bases and have been working, with the military, the government at a deep level.
And I guess I'm
I
sorry.
believe that.
What's the bottom line? What do they want? Are they, like I asked you before we went on, are they here to protect us from ourselves? And if we start to use nuclear weapons, they're going to screw those nuclear weapons up so we can't destroy ourselves?
Yeah, so there are a lot of spacecraft sightings around military bases, particularly nuclear sites. And they have been known to, if the missiles have been activated or even launched, they've been known to shut them down or take them out. And there was a situation back in 2018 where here in Hawaii, where I live, everyone on their phones got this alert that there was a nuclear missile launched from North Korea that was headed our way. And we had half hour to prepare or freak out or do whatever. Well, and I wasn't living here yet, but I know a lot of people who experienced this. And so then about however long later, maybe half hour, false alert. No, that doesn't happen. You don't get a mass alert saying something's coming. And there are people who have written documents about saying that there were ET craft above the Pacific Ocean. And that's likely what happened, that it took out that missile.
I will speak to this. Okay. I will speak to this, and I probably shouldn't because my husband is about to leave the army, and it is what it is. I have been on military bases because obviously my husband active duty. I have just left a military base where I lived on base. And I will absolutely, and I've been on a couple of military, and I've been on one particular military base. And I'm not going to say which one it is, and we have never been posted there, so no one knows what I'm talking about. And I was there, and I remember, guaranteed, absolutely guaranteed. Here's what happened: is as I am driving on base, I felt this presence. I felt this complete protection. I was being followed by a car. This was weird. I was being followed by a car. I got onto base and then I got lost. I got lost on base and I got into this, like, I don't know, this weird place. And I swear to you, I am like in this twilight zone of energy. And I felt this, and this is a very, very well known base in the US. And I'm like, oh my, and I just like, it was weird. Now, I will also say, as I was leaving the base that I was on, I was leaving that morning, and I was leaving when I was leaving from here, and I was driving, and I not from here, but from where I was, and I remember going. I went down this road, and I'm like, and I ended up on their firing range. I ended up down there on their firing range. And don't ask me how I got down there. And Chris was like, I don't even know how you got there. He said, you took the wrong turning. And I'm so glad. But I went down there at like 4 a.m. in the morning. That place has energy. That place has definite galactic energy, because I am there and I stopped and I went, oh, either I feel like I'm going to get fired at, taken up, beam me up, Scotty, whatever it was, I felt it. And there is no question, and I swear to you, there is no question that what I felt, because as I was coming back, it was almost like a relief to be, and then all of these training squads came along. But I know for a fact that was galactic energy in the middle of that range.
Yeah. So they, Ray, to answer your question, they are here. They can't go against our free will. But again, because we are related to them, they're watching over us like parents in a way. They don't want us to destroy ourselves or destroy Earth. And even those that aren't related to us, we have next door neighbors inside of Venus. We have beings living inside Mars and other planets and moons within our solar system.
Wow.
And so everything that we do here on Earth would have a direct ripple effect out into our solar system and beyond.
No, I just wanted to follow up with something you just said that we kind of glossed over. North Korea actually did fire a nuclear weapon at us, and the ETs got rid of it?
That is my understanding. I know there are going to be people like, no, the person got fired. It was a false alarm. But the mechanism in which to set off that kind of alert, there are too many pieces that it doesn't make sense. The cover-up story is stupid, just like weather balloon for Roswell.
And how are you allowed to talk about this stuff?
Well, because the powers that be know that I have no proof of it, and so I'm not dangerous.
Right.
And I have two more questions, one for each of the Lisas. You were on Io, Jupiter's moon.
Yes.
What the hell was that like, to look outside the window and see this massive Jupiter right in front of you? I can't even imagine that.
Well, we were actually inside of Io. Io is the most highly volcanic of any planetary body in our solar system, so you can't be on the surface, but you can be inside. And in fact, a lot of these beings live inside of their moons or planets because the environment is much more stable. And so I do remember vaguely like seeing, as we're passing Jupiter, seeing that.
Vaguely seeing Jupiter.
But no, what I remember really clearly though, so the spacecraft that we were in, it was a small shuttlecraft, but from the perspective of being inside the craft, the walls were transparent where you could just fully see out. And as we were passing through the different gases and the beautiful colors of those gases, it was extraordinary.
Wow.
And how long did it take you to get there?
I mean, I don't know, because it was
a dream.
Time is different.
There's
just like
no
Lisa.
space and time.
Yeah. Time is all relative and not linear.
And that's my next question to you, Lisa. You said that you could elongate time.
Yes.
Tell me about that and how you do that.
Oh, I'm so good at it. So yeah, I have always been able to elongate time. Don't ask me how. It's like Chris will be
Means
like,
that means stretch it out, give
stretch
you
it.
more time.
Yeah, because Chris will tell you I can he can look at me and he's like, you do know we're going out in 5 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, and then I'm getting my hair ready, I'm getting my makeup on, and I've showered, and he's like, how do you do it? So it's almost like I just center into me. I don't even do anything. I center into me. I don't even worry about the time. As soon as I become very conscious of the time, it speeds up. But I just center into me. I get deep into this almost cosmic space, this universal space. And I just go about my thing and I just carry on. I just breathe. And all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah. And I can guarantee you, I always finish with 1 minute to go. Always. Except for when I was, I tell you the most wildest thing. It's a true story. I am putting a chandelier up in my office and I put it up and I am so anal about when I've got to leave for the airport. I even set an alert. And then this thing, I wasn't comfortable with it. And then I changed it and I said to my friend, I said, I've got plenty of time. I started to put this on. She went, what time is your flight? I said, oh, it's fine. She said, you do know what time it is? And I went, oh, shoot, I'm supposed to be boarding right now. The airport is 35 minutes away without traffic. And I just went, okay. I get in my car, I breathe, I allow myself just to settle in, and I get into this like inner space, and I went, boom. And there was traffic all around me, and I swear, and that flight wasn't even delayed. And I got there. I went through security. I had hand luggage, thankfully. I got through security, and I even made it with 5 minutes to go. 8 minutes.
Yeah,
They were delayed that 8 minutes.
And Lisa in Hawaii, can you do that as well?
I have done it, but not to that extreme.
Wow.
That was extreme.
Yeah, that's really extreme.
That's unbelievable.
Very impressive. But yeah.
Now, is that because the both of you have these superpowers that the rest of us don't have?
It's just being aware that we can do it. You could do it too. It's just a practice.
I do it all the time, Ray.
But you would think that people around you would slow down and start moving, real slow, whatever.
Right. So here's the thing. I can only do it when I'm alone. I can't do it. If Chris is hovering around me, I can't do it. I can only do it when I am alone.
How can you drive through traffic?
I don't know. I did. It was so, listen, one of my best friend can tell you, Amanda, she will tell you that she is like, I cannot believe you got there. And I went, I don't know. But suddenly I was there. And I had this moment going, okay, I see myself getting on the plane. I see myself parking. I see myself, and I didn't even run. That's the thing. I didn't even run because then I saw my plane was delayed, like, I don't know, 10 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever it was. But it was like, I didn't even run. And I was like, okay, I was just visualizing. I knew I was going to get on that plane. I knew it was all going to happen. I do it all the time.
That's just fascinating. It's like
I know.
Stuff that just doesn't seem to be something that we could be able to do.
We can do it all the time. I do it when I travel specifically. That is when I find that I just suddenly get into the zone and I'm able to vibe with it. It's weird.
Yeah, for me, it's when I'm driving my car and I'm like, oh, I'm running a little late. Okay, let's collapse time. Let's change this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray, we'll get you onto our team soon.
I'm just making sure I asked all the questions because there's so many I wanted to ask.
It's so fascinating. Lisa, I think that we could pick this up. We could talk about this forever.
Oh, we could.
And I encourage the viewers and the listeners to pop in your chat what you want to know about, because this is a topic that I feel we could talk about for days. And I encourage everybody to pop something in the chat to let us know what you want to talk about, because Lisa, I think this is going to be a conversation that we will have several times over, many times, because I am so excited. Thank you for being on the show and talking about this.
Very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for giving me a platform, because I didn't feel comfortable until 4 years ago to actually share my stories, because I wanted to be taken seriously in my mainstream careers. But when I moved here to Hawaii, it was like I could give all that up and fully step into my true mission here on Earth.
And now you run retreats, or you run sightseeing and everything else. Okay. Do you have a website?
I do. So drlisajthompson.com and bigislandUFOtours.com.
Amazing. We'll put them in the show notes. I love that. If you could leave someone with one message, one takeaway for today, what would it be?
There's absolutely nothing to fear with these galactic entities. They are part of you. You are part of them. We all have them, again, inside of us as part of our family. And they want you to know who they are without fear.
Is there a movie out there that best shows the way that they might be?
Actually, Contact, Interstellar, and Arrival are really like more accurate representations.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll check those out.
It's not Independence Day or the other scary ones.
Of course not. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check those out. Lisa, thank you so much. Really have enjoyed this conversation. So enlightening. And to everybody listening, look beyond what you know. Life isn't linear. Look totally at your life and wonder, is your best friend, is your neighbor an ET? You never know. But embrace them into your life. I think it's phenomenal. I'm so glad that we opened this door into this area. Like and subscribe to Hope, Healing, and Transformation for more of these conversations, because this is the stuff I want to talk about. For me, thank you very much. My name's Lisa Williams, and I will see you all again next time.
Do you feel a whisper in the back of your mind, like the truth is waiting, but it's hard to find? Well, maybe there's magic in the words she brings. Close your eyes and listen in. Do you want to know everything? What your heart won't say, but your soul can sing. From love to loss and the space between, she's got the light to lift the unseen. Hope, healing, and transformation. Do you want to know everything? Do you want to know everything?
Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, the information shared on this podcast is meant to inspire and support you, but it's not a replacement for personalized advice from a qualified professional. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to tune in next time